Hello, I'm Art Eggers, and I want to take a few minutes to welcome you to Technical Physics, the spring semester 2019. Usually I get questions immediately from students about the success of getting through this class. What does it take to be successful in technical physics? The first thing that you need to understand is, although it is considered a science course, it is primarily a math course. It is very, very heavy in math. So if you have taken the prerequisite math courses, you will be very well served if you did well in those math courses and really, really understand what you did and what you learned in math. You must be proficient in those math courses that you took. Generally, having taken, say, Math 116 or an equivalent and earning an A is a good starting point. And it will generally be a good indicator of how well you're going to do in this course because you'll understand the concepts. So in looking at those math skills that you should have learned, you have to be, on day one, proficient in all algebraic manipulations to make it through this course. So the first thing you're going to be introduced to and refreshed on is unit conversions. What does it take to convert from feet to meters and back, pounds to grams and back, centimeters to meters and back? All of these conversions, you're going to see it over and over again, generally in every chapter that we go through. Every chapter builds on itself. Once you complete chapter 1, the introduction with accuracy of measurements, then you're going to start applying those things into motion in 1 dimension, motion in 2 dimensions, then looking at force and work and energy, and then collisions. I mean, as you move along through the course, in each case, you are going to build on those skills. In solving the equations, you have to be able to solve one equation in terms of another to come up with the correct answers. Looking at factoring exponents and simplifying equations, very important. Knowing right off what is the difference between the relationship of x squared and the square root of x. Be surprised how many people still don't have that understanding. So make sure you understand that relationship. Knowing the appropriate units of measure and converting one to the other. I have students that go all the way through this course and still haven't figured out the difference between distance, velocity, and acceleration. If you give me the wrong units, the answer on your work is wrong and you get a 0. Knowing the difference then between displacement and distance, one of the things we're going to look at and understand in the second chapter. Understanding positive and negative values and recognizing when a negative value makes no sense. If I get values of a negative and you're dealing in the dimension of time, it makes no sense. You're not going to get any credit for answering that because I can clearly see you don't understand the concept. Knowing the difference between displacement, velocity, and acceleration. Understanding the difference between derived and fundamental units. As we move through this course, the fundamental units will be introduced first, and then as we start moving through the math and the relationships, the derived units will build upon that. Knowing how to factor and manipulate first, second, and third degree polynomials are very important. And again, it goes back to, did you really learn what you needed to learn in your math courses? Otherwise, those terms will make no sense to you. Having a proficiency with basic trigonometry and right triangle manipulations using sine, cosine, and tangent, as well as each of the inverse functions for them, will become very important very fast in this course because you'll have to start dealing with right triangle trigonometry. Having an introduction to vector algebra then builds on that right triangle trigonometry because we use that to determine force, work, and energy. So if all of this makes sense to you on day 1 of the class, you're probably going to be very successful in technical physics. If some of this makes sense to you on day 1 of the class, you have the potential of being successful in technical physics. If none of this makes sense to you on day one of the class, you got a problem. This is going to be a very difficult course for you. You're going to be trying to learn or relearn your math as you go, and you're already going to be spending hours and hours and hours every day, every week for the next 16 weeks to get through this course. This is a very time-intensive course. If you don't have time to spend hours every day on this course, you're going to get buried very fast. Be aware that I have tools in Canvas that allow me to detect academic dishonesty. If I see you take a quiz and it took you 10 seconds to finish it, I know that you probably cheated, that you probably are endeavoring in academic dishonesty. And if I see that, I will deal with it swiftly. Do not question my grading practices. Your final grade is the grade that you earned. And I do not give extra credit assignments at the end of the semester if your grade is suffering. I always recommend that you find yourself a study buddy and use the extra things like Khan Academy to refresh your skills. I gave lots of links to Khan Academy in here to get you up to speed and refresh your math skills. Again, you may have earned an A in your math course, but did you really learn it? We're going to find out very quickly. Again, welcome to the course. I look forward to working with you over the next 16 weeks. Good luck.